Hey everybody, and welcome back to Bigfoot Cooking, where today we're on part 2 of my little muffin run I got. I don't want to call it a series, but it's a muffin run. We are making apple muffins this time with a big old Granny Smith and a complimentary pink lady. Why these two? It's the two I wanted. That's the joy of when you're cooking. You can make whatever you want yourself. There's no law that says you can't use plums, but that wouldn't be an apple muffin, would it? So let's get started with some ingredients on this thing, shall we? We're going to start out with about 1.25 cups of flour, about 1/2 cup of sugar, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon of salt. That's going to be your dry ingredients. And then for your wet ingredients, we have 1/2 cup of milk, 1/3 cup of vegetable oil, and 1 glorious fresh from the chicken egg. Fresh because I went out there this morning and got it. And of course our apples. And we've got a crumble that we're going to put together too. So we're going to really jazz this one up some. So let's get started mixing these ingredients and get to the muffin making. Compliments of the Muffin Man. Now, before we get started with the mixing and matching and magic and all of that, turn your oven on because it will take a few minutes. And by the time you make all this stuff, the oven will be ready to go. So 350 degrees, that's our starting temperature today. Now, time for the dry. Now to begin this party, we have a dry pool. We don't need that. Yet at the same time, we're adding more dry ingredients. It'll change, give it a little bit. We'll do our 1.25 cups of flour here. From there, we gotta sweeten it up with 1/2 cup of sugar. Ooh, dust it up too. Maybe I shouldn't pour it from so high. 2 teaspoons of baking powder, blip blip. And of course, our heavy pinch, also known as 1/4 teaspoon of salt. From there, we'll mix these guys together, get them into a nice happy household of congeniality, conjunctibility. I don't know, we're gonna make it into a nice dusty lump of deliciousness. With the dry done, let's mix up the wet. And into our wet, we do the egg. Let's see if it'll bust from distance. Poured it right across that there mixing tool, didn't I? We'll do our oil. Pour it in heavily and wonderfully. And then our milk. Notice the trend here? Sugar, flour, milk, egg. I think that's about what most every baked good is made out of. I could be wrong, but unless you're vegan or one of them other eganisms, then you might do things a little different. But as far as most of the baking world, flour, yeast, water, salt, right? Well, if you don't have yeast, use baking powder. Now let's cut the apples, get them ready to go into the muffin. Now, of course, to peel these, I'm sure you don't want to watch me peel them in slow motion. So let's do it in fast. Watch, I'm about to break the sound barrier. Time me. And there you go, peeled and cored. Let's get the chicken food set up because, oh, they love some apples. They will probably fight over them. I'll have to spread them out a little bit so they don't get together. Now, to cut these, I'm gonna use this here Christmas present I got. Give it a good try. I mean, it looks really cool, and so far it's done pretty well. And I wish I could tell you, oh, it's this brand or that brand, but when it's a gift, it's a gift. So we're gonna take our apples and kind of slice them to the thickness that we want without cutting fingers off because, you know, I am kind of attached to my digits. And then into this fancy dancy tool. Now you see it, now you don't. There you go. Easiest way I found to cube up a whole bunch of apples. We'll set him off to the side and let's do some more mixing of the batter. Well, since muffins ain't complicated, we'll just take all our wet, pour it in all our dry, all at once. Let's get a good mix on this. That way there's no dry left, there's no lumps or anything like that. And once we get that, then we'll add the apples. There you go. A couple of lumps, but just right. Now from here, we're gonna add the apples. Now, honestly, I think I went to the store and I found the 2 biggest apples I could find, so I might have a little too much in there, but we're just gonna take and mix these together. Which one's Pink Lady? Which one's Granny Smith? Who cares? We're gonna have us some delicious apples. And I'm gonna have a little snack for later. Get all these apples coated with all the goodness. And from here, we take our batter and we're gonna carefully, because we might get a little messy here, we're gonna scoop it all into these here little muffin tin thingies, these fancy little things. You don't have to use these, you can scoop them right into the metal, but it works so much better, you know, because, well, a muffin is paper wrapped. Don't eat the paper. It's not real good for you. Let's load them up. Now we've got everybody in the tins. We actually needed 2 more. This recipe went a little further. Maybe it's because I got bigger apples. Let's make a crumb to go on top of it, because everybody, you know, that sweet, delicious crumb that sits on the top of a muffin. Let's mix that up before these guys go in the hot box. Now the crumble for the top, pretty simple to do. It's a 1/2 cup of flour, 1/2 cup of brown sugar, a teaspoon of cinnamon, and a 1/4 cup of butter. Simple ingredients, and literally it's a mix all at once. We're just gonna dump everything into this one nice big glass container. Why glass? Well, because that's the one that was clean when I needed to grab it. Now for the butter, it's unsalted, and I put it in the microwave for just a moment, just to kind of loosen it up, so that way it's pretty much room temperature with a tinge more. We're gonna mix this in until we get a nice crumble. So we've got our crumble here all made up. We're just gonna take it and kind of pull some pieces off of it and drop it in on top. Oh man, this is going to be so good. You can just eat this right off the thing. Delicious smelling, delicious tasting. It's almost like cookie dough. You know how you eat cookie dough? This is pretty close to it. Now, if you would add a little more sugar to the mix, you get a little more of that crunchy, pasty kind of going on, instead of more like I say, like the texture we have here, but it's all in what you like. With me, I like it like this. It kind of melts down, coats it, and makes it gooey. So let's go into the hot box, shall we? Let's make things nice and delish. Five minutes has gone by. Let's take a look at what we got here. Ooh, my man, my man. There we go. Now, it looks good, but does it pass the toothpick test? Oh, she's clean. All right. Now, we're gonna let these guys cool down. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and pull them out of the pan, so that way you don't have leftover heat transferring. Pull them out of the pan, put them on a cooling rack. We're gonna let them marinate in the calm house temperature for about 10 minutes, and then let's cut one open and see what they look like. And there we have it, apple muffins ready for consumption. Oh, look at it. Let's go ahead, and they're still a little warm, but I am an impatient man when it comes to some good food. Let's slice into this thing and see how she looks. If it'll slice. Oh, it's soft, delish. I can't even get it out of the wrapper, it's so good. Maybe if I let it cool down more, but I'm in a hurry. I mean, look at her, chocked full of apples. Yo, time to make one disappear. Hold on. Woo. Hold on, need another taste test. There is another half here, you know. Oh yeah, absolutely melt in the mouth, disappears when you swallow. All the apple, a little bit that cinnamon on top from that little crunchy crunch that when it actually cools down will set real good and hard. Not too bad for round 2. But round 3 is coming up. You wanna know what's next? We're making chocolate muffins. Oh, so make sure you come back for that one. But in the meantime, I can tell you that these things are absolutely delicious, and I can tell you that Bigfoot is real. Really gonna take this one too. Now, of course, to prep the apples, are you done? Okay, you got a pet. Now, I'm in the middle of something here, guys.